Ladies and gentlemen, let us lean in together for a moment and confront a thief. Yes, a thief that has robbed too many of us of our peace, our joy, and our purpose. That thief's name is worry. Worry is a complex emotion often misunderstood and underestimated. At its core, worry is the mind's way of grappling with uncertainty, a reaction to perceived threats or challenges in the future. While it may seem like a natural part of life, worry is in many ways a misuse of our imagination. It takes our ability to envision and problem solve and redirects it toward fear, creating scenarios in our minds that may never come to pass. To stop worrying, we must first understand it deeply, not just as a feeling, but as a pattern of thoughts that can be unlearned and replaced. Worry often arises from the desire for control. When we feel uncertain about a situation or outcome, our minds attempt to regain control by imagining every possible negative scenario. This habit can feel productive, as though we're preparing ourselves for the worst, but in truth, it's counterproductive. Worry doesn't solve problems, it amplifies them, casting shadows on situations that are often less threatening than they appear, instead of equipping us to face challenges. Worry drains our energy and narrows our perspective. Consider how worry operates. It thrives on what ifs. What if I fail? What if I make the wrong decision? What if something goes wrong? These questions create a cycle of fear, where each imagined scenario feels more real than the last. But here's the irony. The vast majority of our worries are about things that never actually happen. Studies have shown that only a small fraction of what we worry about comes true, and even when it does, it's often far less catastrophic than we feared. Worry also tends to fixate on the future, pulling us away from the present moment. While planning for the future is important, living entirely in the what's next robs us of the ability to enjoy the what's now. The present is where we have the power to act, to change, and to grow. The future is shaped by what we do today, but worry convinces us to focus on an imaginary tomorrow, leaving the present neglected. One of the most harmful aspects of worry is how it distorts our perception of reality. When we're caught in a cycle of worry, our minds magnify problems and minimize our ability to handle them. We start to believe that challenges are bigger than they really are and that our resources, whether internal or external, are smaller than they actually are. Worry creates a false narrative, one where the odds are always stacked against us. But worry isn't just mental. It has physical consequences as well. When we worry, our bodies respond as though we're facing an immediate threat. Our heart rate increases, our muscles tense, and stress hormones flood our system. This fight or flight response is meant to protect us in emergencies, but chronic worry keeps it activated, leading to exhaustion, weakened immunity, and even long-term health issues. Understanding worry also means recognizing the role of fear. At its root, worry is a form of fear. Fear of failure, rejection, loss, or the unknown. Fear isn't inherently bad. It's a natural response designed to keep us safe. But when fear becomes chronic, manifesting as worry, it stops being protective and starts being paralyzing. To break free from worry, we must learn to confront our fears head on, questioning their validity and refusing to let them dictate our thoughts. Ultimately, worry is a choice. It may not feel like one, but it is. We choose what we focus on, and we can train our minds to shift away from worry and toward more constructive ways of thinking. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending that challenges don't exist. It means approaching them from a place of clarity and calm rather than fear. Understanding worrying is the first step to overcoming it. When we see it for what it truly is, a misuse of our imagination, a response to fear, and a habit that can be broken, we regain the power to live with greater peace and purpose. Worry doesn't have to define us. Instead, we can use our minds to build, create, and envision a better future. One that's not ruled by fear, but by faith and action. Perspective shapes how we experience and respond to life's challenges. It's not the circumstances themselves that determine our feelings, reactions, or outcomes, but how we choose to view them. Perspective acts like a lens, coloring everything we see. Two people can face the same situation and emerge with entirely different interpretations simply because of how they perceive what's happening. This is why perspective is so powerful. It has the ability to transform fear into opportunity, uncertainty into possibility, and obstacles into stepping stones. When challenges arise, our initial reaction is often rooted in emotion. Fear, frustration, or doubt can cloud our judgment, making it difficult to see the bigger picture. But it's in these moments that perspective becomes critical. How we choose to frame a situation determines whether we feel empowered or defeated. A setback, for instance, might seem like a failure if viewed through a negative lens, but with a shift in perspective, that same setback can be seen as a lesson, a chance to grow stronger and wiser. Perspective also influences the stories we tell ourselves. Our minds are constantly narrating our experiences, assigning meaning to events and shaping our beliefs about what's possible. If we believe a situation is hopeless, we're likely to act in ways that reinforce that belief. But if we choose to see even the smallest glimmer of hope, we open ourselves to solutions and opportunities that might not have been visible before. The perspective is, in many ways, a self-fulfilling prophecy. What we expect to see often becomes what we actually see. Let's take a moment to consider the role of gratitude in shaping perspective. Gratitude shifts our focus from what's wrong to what's right, from what's lacking to what's abundant. When we make a conscious effort to acknowledge the good in our lives, even in the midst of difficulty, we begin to see challenges in a new light. Gratitude doesn't erase problems, but it reminds us that we have the strength, resources, and support to face them. It creates a sense of balance, allowing us to approach life's trials with a more grounded and hopeful outlook. Perspective also plays a crucial role in relationships. How we perceive others, whether we focus on their flaws or their strengths, can either build bridges or create barriers. A kind word, a moment of understanding, or a willingness to see things from another person's point of view can transform conflicts into opportunities for connection. When we approach situations with empathy and an open mind, we expand our perspective, making room for growth and mutual understanding. It's important to recognize that perspective isn't fixed. It's something we can actively cultivate and change. This requires self-awareness and intentionality. When we find ourselves stuck in a negative mindset, we can pause and ask, is there another way to view this situation? What am I overlooking? What can I learn from this? These questions help us step back and gain a broader, more balanced perspective. One of the most effective ways to shift perspective is to focus on the bigger picture. In the moment, challenges can feel overwhelming, as though they're the defining feature of our lives. But when we zoom out and take a longer view, we often see that what feels insurmountable today is just a small part of a much larger journey. Another powerful tool for cultivating perspective is storytelling. Hearing how others have faced and overcome adversity can inspire us to see our own challenges in a new way. Stories of resilience, courage, and triumph remind us that we're not alone, and that even the most difficult situations can lead to transformation. Ultimately, perspective is a choice. It's not always easy, especially when we're in the thick of uncertainty or pain, but by consciously choosing to focus on possibilities rather than problems, on lessons rather than losses, we can transform how we experience life. Perspective doesn't change what happens to us, but it changes how we respond, and that in turn changes everything. Faith is a powerful force that transcends circumstances, anchoring us in hope and possibility even when the future feels uncertain. It is the antidote to fear, the inner strength that allows us to navigate life's challenges with courage and determination. While fear whispers doubts and insecurities, faith speaks of resilience, potential, and the ability to overcome. Choosing faith over fear isn't about ignoring reality. It's about trusting in something greater than the obstacles in front of us and believing that we have the strength to rise above them. At its core, fear is a natural response to uncertainty. It's an instinct designed to protect us from harm, but when left unchecked, it can become paralyzing. Fear magnifies the unknown, convincing us to focus on worst-case scenarios and exaggerating the risks of failure or rejection. It keeps us stuck, afraid to take action, and limits our ability to grow. Faith, on the other hand, liberates us. It shifts our focus from what could go wrong to what could go right, empowering us to move forward, even when the outcome is uncertain. Faith is not blind optimism or wishful thinking. It doesn't ignore challenges or pretend that life is free from struggles. Instead, faith is grounded in trust in ourselves, trust in the process, and for many, trust in a higher power. This trust gives us the confidence to step out of our comfort zones, to face our fears head on, and to keep going even when the path ahead isn't clear. Faith reminds us that difficulties are temporary and that growth often comes through perseverance. One of the most transformative aspects of faith is its ability to redefine failure. Fear sees failure as the end, as proof that we're not good enough or that we're incapable of achieving our goals. Faith, however, sees failure as a stepping stone, a necessary part of the journey toward success. It teaches us that every setback is an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to grow stronger. With faith, we can approach challenges with curiosity and resilience, knowing that each experience, whether it leads to victory or defeat, brings us closer to our potential. Faith also strengthens our ability to face the unknown. Life is full of uncertainties, and trying to control every outcome is not only impossible, but also exhausting. Faith frees us from this need for control by encouraging us to trust the process, to believe that things will unfold as they should. This doesn't mean abandoning responsibility or effort. It means focusing on what we can do in the present moment and letting go of what is beyond our control. Faith allows us to release the weight of worry and embrace the possibilities of the future. Another key aspect of faith is its capacity to inspire action. Fear often paralyzes, convincing us to wait until conditions are perfect before we take the next step. Faith, however, motivates us to act despite uncertainty. It reminds us that progress is made through movement, that even the smallest steps can lead to significant change. With faith, we can take risks, pursue our dreams, and embrace opportunities, knowing that the journey itself is valuable, regardless of the outcome. Faith also connects us to something larger than ourselves. Whether it's a belief in a higher power, a sense of purpose, or a commitment to a greater cause, faith gives us a sense of meaning and direction. It helps us see beyond our individual struggles, reminding us that we are part of a larger story. This perspective can be incredibly grounding, especially during difficult times. Ultimately, faith is a choice. It's a decision to believe in possibility over limitation, in hope over despair, and in growth over stagnation. It's not always easy. Fear can be loud and persistent, but faith is always within reach. It's a quiet strength that resides in each of us, waiting to be embraced. When we choose faith over fear, we open ourselves to a world of potential, proving that even in the face of uncertainty, we have the power to thrive. Worry often thrives in the absence of action. When we allow our minds to dwell on problems without making any effort to address them, worry grows louder and more oppressive. It feeds on inertia, turning uncertainty into paralysis and possibilities into overwhelming fears. But there is a way to break free from the grip of worry, and that way is through action. Action has the power to transform anxiety into productivity, uncertainty into clarity, and fear into confidence. When we find ourselves consumed by worry, it's often because we feel powerless. The unknowns of a situation loom large, and the steps to resolve it seem unclear or out of reach. This sense of helplessness fuels a cycle of rumination, where we turn the same thoughts over and over in our minds without reaching a solution. But what if we interrupted that cycle with a single purposeful action? Even the smallest step forward can create momentum, shifting our focus from what we can't control to what we can. Action doesn't have to mean solving the entire problem at once. In fact, it's often more effective to break a challenge into smaller, manageable tasks. Each step, no matter how small, builds confidence and reduces the power of worry. For example, if you're anxious about an upcoming project, start by organizing your thoughts or creating a simple outline. If you're worried about your finances, take a moment to review your budget or research resources. These actions might not resolve the situation instantly, but they bring clarity and a sense of progress, which is often enough to quiet the mind. Taking action also shifts our focus from the abstract to the tangible. Worry thrives in the realm of what ifs, a space where our imaginations can run wild with all the things that could go wrong. Action, on the other hand, grounds us in the present moment. It reminds us that we have the ability to influence our circumstances, even if the changes are small. By focusing on what we can do right now, we reclaim our sense of agency and reduce the power of fear. Another benefit of action is its ability to provide perspective. When we're stuck in a cycle of worry, problems often feel bigger and more insurmountable than they really are. Taking steps toward a solution helps us see the challenge more clearly, breaking it down into pieces that are easier to address. Action reveals possibilities that worry tends to obscure, showing us that the situation is not as overwhelming as it seems. Showing us that the situation is not as overwhelming as it seems. It's also important to recognize that action doesn't always mean doing something external. Sometimes the most powerful actions are internal, like changing the way we think about a situation, or practicing mindfulness to calm our minds. Taking the time to breathe deeply, reflect on our strengths, or focus on gratitude can be transformative. These actions remind us that worry is not a permanent state and that we have the power to change our perspective and emotions. Furthermore, action is a practice of courage. It requires us to step out of our comfort zones and face uncertainty head on. This can be intimidating, but is also empowering. Each time we take action, we prove to ourselves that we are capable of handling challenges, even when the outcome is unknown. Over time, this builds resilience and reduces the tendency to worry in the first place. It's worth noting that not every action will lead to immediate success, and that's okay. The purpose of action is not to guarantee a specific result, but to keep us moving forward. Progress, no matter how small, is a victory in itself. Even setbacks can be valuable, providing lessons and insights that guide us toward better decisions in the future. In the end, action is the bridge between worry and peace. It allows us to channel our energy into something constructive, breaking free from the cycle of rumination and opening the door to solutions and growth. When we choose to act, we reclaim our power and remind ourselves that we are not defined by our fears. Instead, we are defined by our ability to rise, to take steps forward, and to create a life that is not ruled by worry, but by purpose and possibility. Gratitude is a transformative practice that has the power to shift our mindset, alter our perspective, and significantly reduce worry. At its core, gratitude is the act of recognizing and appreciating the good in our lives, even amidst challenges. It's not about ignoring difficulties or pretending everything is perfect. Rather, it's about intentionally focusing on what is positive and abundant, no matter how small. Gratitude serves as a powerful counterbalance to worry because it redirects our attention from what we lack or fear to what we already have and value. When we worry, our minds often fixate on worst-case scenarios and what might go wrong. This focus on potential problems amplifies anxiety, creating a loop of negative thinking that can feel impossible to escape. Gratitude interrupts this cycle by shifting the narrative. Instead of dwelling on what's missing, gratitude encourages us to look at what's present. It reminds us that even in the face of uncertainty, there are aspects of our lives that are stable, fulfilling, and worth celebrating. The beauty of gratitude is that it doesn't require grand gestures or monumental changes. It begins with small, intentional moments of reflection. Perhaps it's the warmth of the sun on your face, the kindness of a friend, or the simple fact that you woke up to a new day. These small acknowledgments may seem insignificant, but they accumulate over time, creating a powerful sense of well-being and resilience. Gratitude is like a muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes, and the more naturally it begins to influence your thoughts and actions. Gratitude also helps us reframe challenges. When we face difficulties, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and focus solely on the negative aspects of the situation. But gratitude invites us to look deeper, to find the silver linings even in hardship. For example, a challenging project at work might feel stressful, but it could also be an opportunity to grow, learn, and showcase your abilities. A tough conversation with a loved one might seem daunting, but it can lead to greater understanding and connection. Gratitude helps us see these opportunities, making it easier to approach challenges with a sense of purpose and optimism. Moreover, gratitude has a profound impact on our emotional and physical well-being. Research has shown that people who regularly practice gratitude experience lower levels of stress and anxiety, better sleep, and improved overall health. Gratitude activates the brain's reward system, releasing feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. These chemicals counteract the effects of stress hormones, creating a sense of calm and positivity. In this way, gratitude not only changes how we think, but also how we feel on a physiological level. Gratitude also strengthens our relationships. When we express appreciation for the people around us, we deepen our connections and foster a sense of mutual respect and care. A simple thank you or acknowledgement of someone's effort can go a long way in building trust and goodwill. Relationships are a critical source of support during times of worry, and gratitude helps us nurture and sustain them. Another profound aspect of gratitude is its ability to cultivate hope. When we take the time to reflect on what we're grateful for, we're reminded of the good that exists in our lives even during tough times. This reminder creates a sense of hope that better days are possible and that challenges are temporary. Gratitude doesn't deny the existence of difficulties. It simply puts them into perspective. It shifts our focus from scarcity to abundance, from fear to possibility. Practicing gratitude doesn't mean ignoring real problems or pretending that everything is fine. Instead, it's about creating a balance. It's about acknowledging the difficulties while also recognizing the blessings. This balance helps us approach life with greater resilience and clarity, reducing the hold that worry has over us. To cultivate gratitude, consider starting small. Keep a journal where you write down 3 things you're grateful for each day. Take a moment each morning or evening to reflect on the positives in your life. Share your appreciation with others, whether through a note, a conversation, or a simple smile. Over time, these practices will become habits, and gratitude will become a natural part of your daily life. In the end, gratitude is a choice. It's a decision to focus on what's good, even when life feels uncertain. It reminds us of our strength, our blessings, and the beauty that exists in every moment. By choosing gratitude, we reduce worry and create space for joy, hope, and peace to flourish. Letting go of what we cannot control is one of the most liberating steps we can take to free ourselves from worry. Much of the anxiety we experience stems from trying to manage or influence things that are simply beyond our reach. This creates frustration, stress, and a sense of helplessness, trapping us in a cycle of overthinking. Yet when we learn to release our grip on what we cannot change, we create space for peace, clarity, and the energy to focus on the things we can influence. Control often feels like a safety net, providing a sense of stability in an unpredictable world. We want to know what's coming next, how situations will unfold, and how people will respond to us. But the truth is that life is inherently uncertain, and the attempt to control every detail only amplifies that uncertainty. The weather, other people's opinions, past events, and even the future itself are all outside our domain of influence. Trying to control these things is like trying to hold water in your hands. It slips through no matter how tightly you grasp. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or becoming passive. It's not about apathy or resignation. Rather, it's about recognizing the difference between what's within your power and what isn't. This distinction is crucial because it allows you to direct your energy where it truly matters. Instead of wasting time and emotional resources on things you can't change, you can invest them in areas where you can make a difference. This shift in focus is not only empowering, but also deeply calming. One of the first steps to letting go is acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean that you like or agree with everything that happens, but it does mean acknowledging reality as it is. This can be difficult, especially when faced with challenging circumstances or outcomes we didn't anticipate. However, resisting reality only prolongs worry and creates unnecessary suffering. Acceptance allows us to stop fighting against the inevitable and start finding ways to navigate through it. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for practicing acceptance and letting go. By staying present in the moment, we can observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, allowing them to come and go like passing clouds. Mindfulness teaches us that we don't have to engage with every worry or try to solve every problem in our minds. Instead, we can simply acknowledge our thoughts, recognize them for what they are, and then gently return our focus to the present moment. This practice helps us break free from the cycle of rumination and lets us experience a sense of calm even in uncertain times. Letting go also requires trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the process, and for many, trust in a higher power. Trust reminds us that we don't have to have all the answers right now, and that things often work out in ways we couldn't have predicted. Trusting the process doesn't mean ignoring challenges or avoiding responsibility. It means recognizing that life is a journey, and not everything needs to be figured out all at once. This trust creates a sense of openness. Another aspect of letting go is forgiveness, both of ourselves and others. Holding on to past mistakes, regrets, or grievances only weighs us down, keeping us stuck in a cycle of worry and resentment. Forgiveness frees us from these burdens, allowing us to move forward with a lighter heart. It's not about condoning harmful actions, but about releasing their hold over us. By letting go of the past, we reclaim our energy and focus, making it easier to face the present with clarity and purpose. Letting go can also be a gradual process. It's not something that happens overnight, but rather a practice that we return to again and again. Each time we release a worry or relinquish the need to control, we take a step toward freedom. Over time, this practice becomes easier and more natural, transforming how we approach life's challenges. Ultimately, letting go is an act of courage. It takes strength to release the illusion of control and trust in the unfolding of life. But the rewards are profound. By letting go of what we can't control, we free ourselves from the weight of worry and open ourselves to peace, resilience, and the possibilities of the present moment.